starts at 7:10. Started at 7:10 here for a long time.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the 10After7 podcast, episode 23. I'm joined on Zoom by my good friend, Deven Rall, and we got a lot to talk about. There's some stuff going on this weekend. What up, D-Roll?
What's going on, Cody? I mean, I feel like your listeners were tired of just seeing you. So it's about time you bring a good-looking person on your show that they can, veer off and look at me, and they don't just have to look at you the whole time.
Yeah, think about that. They were going 22 episodes strong of just staring at me talking into a microphone.
I will say you must have some pretty dedicated fans then.
Yeah, all 5 of them. That worked. So today, this week, it's July 9th today, Thursday, we're recording this. This week, the biggest news, Patrick Mahomes got the bag from the Kansas City Chiefs.
Crazy, man. $500 million.
Yeah. But here you go. This is NFL money. So when you first thought of it, that was your reaction, right? $500 million, holy shit.
I mean, anytime you're getting $500 million, I don't really think there can be a downside, right?
No, of course not. My initial reaction was because first it came out that they had a 10-year extension agreed upon. The money wasn't out there yet on the Twitter sphere or whatever you were looking at. But what I looked at was that no one, not anyone, I didn't see talk shit about him getting a 10-year deal for whatever money they were going to throw at him.
What do you mean by that?
Just like, is he going to be worth 10 years? Like there was.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, dude, the guy already won them a Super Bowl. So it's like, you got to imagine, if anything, do you know what his contract before he was making no money? He was going
to make 5.3, or that was just a cap hit. I don't know. He was
making like a couple million each year, and he got him a Super Bowl. So if anything, I feel like he's earned getting overpaid. So it's like, why? How can you really hate on that? But also, though, the one thing I don't get, maybe I'm just really dumb, but what are people saying that like in a few years, like it's gonna not be that much, like adjusted to like where the cap goes, basically?
So right now, I think the cap for the NFL is $197 million. That teams could spend. In a couple years, the new TV deal is going to kick in, which a lot of people think it'll surpass $300 million. So that's what they're saying in a couple years. And I did read something where they said if he didn't take this deal and say took himself to 2025 when that deal hits, he could have probably made a lot more if he just settled for a 5-year deal now and then re-upped then.
Totally. But doesn't he just kind of seem like that type of guy that's like, I know it's very ironic to say like a guy that doesn't care about the money when he just got $500 million, but I feel like he's the type of guy, like he's been dating the same girl since he was in high school. He's like stoked to be in the NFL. He won a Super Bowl. Now it's just like, I just want to stay in Kansas City and be the like.
That's why I think a lot of people like him. Like, honestly, think about any other contract that we've seen. Usually the first reaction is, how did he get that much money? Is he worth that much? Those are the first questions asked. And Mahomes got this deal, and no one said a damn thing. And I think it's because he's so likable. That's the number one thing.
Super likable, and it's also kind of interesting that you say that no one really talked crap on this contract at all, because, like, do people not remember he literally blew his knee out last year? Like, it's not like he's not been injury prone.
Yeah, exactly. His ankle was bad.
Oh, yeah, it was his ankle.
Yeah.
But, like, he missed a lot of some time last year. He clearly – I mean, yeah, he can throw the ball like with his left hand, and he's like put up insane. What he scored like 50 touchdowns or something. But it's just crazy to me that at what is he, 23 or 24?
24.
I think. If I was given $500 million at age 24, I would not be here today. Let me tell you that.
Dude, if you gave me $5 million.
Dude, like, and not only that, but it's just like, if you give me that kind of money, and I know it's not all guaranteed, I think only like 160 million of it's guaranteed. It's just like, my motivation's out the door. I'm in Vegas every weekend. I'll show up to the games. I'll show up to practice, maybe a little hungover a few of the time, but like, he won a Super Bowl, so he doesn't have the motivation there. He is basically going to marry. I mean, I don't know where his motivation comes now. Right.
It's the great ones, which I think he's on that trajectory 100%. I think he's one of the best talents we've ever seen already. But the great ones, they have a different thing in their brain, and he's one of them. I think he wants to go for Tom Brady's throne, dude. I think he wants to get to
I guess there's the legacy. There's the legacy thing. But God, but just a little bit off topic, but they showed like a montage of his like, and I forgot what media that tried to spin like, oh, these are such great pump ups, like him just firing up his guys on the sideline. They were like, how can you take that voice seriously?
I mean,
Like if I'm trying to score a touchdown, like, we're going in for the last drive and I'm hearing Kermit the Frog in my left ear chirping, God knows what he's even saying.
yeah,
Like,
but then when you turn around and he throws the ball 75 yards into your teammate's hands, that's when you're like, all right, I'm following this dude.
that's true. You can,
But like NFL contracts, like I was gonna say, is 500 million. Like, yeah, it's huge. But when in baseball, when Trout got 430, that's when you're like, holy shit, he's getting every single penny of that.
No, I know, totally. And the other thing that's kind of interesting about the contract that a lot of people brought up is because I've heard a lot of people, especially, fans of teams in the same division, I'm not going to name any names, but say, okay, congrats. Now, good job filling out the roster. But I've heard that, especially a guy like him, he's clearly going to restructure when they need to pay other people.
Yeah. So actually, on the front end, the guarantees aren't that much, and his cap hit is the same exact. So he was going to be on the cap for 5.3 this year and then 24.8 next year. That's exactly the same. So right now they're talking about re-signing Chris Jones, the defensive end, and they could do that before July 15th.
Totally.
And I know a lot of people, there was a word out there, I think Schefter tweeted it, guaranteed mechanisms. So I had to look it up. He said like 477 guaranteed mechanisms in this contract. So that's where he actually makes it nearly impossible for the Kansas City Chiefs to even think about cutting him over this 10-year contract.
Oh yeah, that's interesting because like in the past, when you'd ever see like a guy get a fat contract, like someone that comes to mind is Kaepernick, it was always like, yeah, he's getting paid all this money, but like at any time you could just cut him and you won't have to pay him. So it's like,
so he made sure there's like a 3-day difference in the start of the league year, and he put that in his contract, guaranteed mechanisms, to make it hard for the Chiefs to come.
Another thing though, also one more last thing on the contract end. Granted, I don't want to throw any shade, and he's clearly a much different person than I am, but I heard he has a no trade clause in there. You want to spend the rest of your career and life in Kansas City, dude?
I mean, the fans and what I've heard about Arrowhead, not many stadiums and crowds can match that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess you have the fans.
Yeah, we could say, oh, Mahomes, like, oh, would he come to LA? But LA doesn't really have the football scene. Like Green Bay, all those historic ones. If you're a quarterback, you want to go to Pittsburgh, that legacy, Green Bay, Kansas City. Football's just different in that aspect.
Yeah, I agreed. He's got a wife. He's got his bag now, or it's his girlfriend's gonna be his wife. He's got the Super Bowl. It's like, I feel like, and he does have the personality that I could really see him being like a movie star or in a show.
Yeah, I mean, the voice, I think that's.
Yeah, I can't get past the voice. If they bring back the Muppets, maybe, but besides that.
Which he would do. He's very, like, he does make fun of his voice, which I think is cool.
Yeah, I've seen him do a lot of, like, when people have interviewed him, made fun of it, and he can have fun with that. Doesn't take himself too seriously. Honestly, he's basically, in my opinion, he's the Steph Curry of the NFL.
Yeah, that's true. Likeable. Very good comparison. I'll ask you this question. I like the route that people took with this. If you were to hand out a 10-year, $500 million contract to any other athlete, any sport, who are you giving it to?
10 years, $500 million.
There's been Giannis has been thrown out. I saw Luka get thrown out. I like that one.
No.
No, you're not a Luka guy, dude.
Not a Luka. Dude, any professional athlete with a body type like that, no. Damn, that's actually a really good question. I mean, it's got to be a baseball player, right?
Yeah, a lot of people think Mookie Betts.
They have the most longevity. I feel like I mean, Trout already got the 400.
It would be Giannis, hands down. Like, what is he, 20?
Yeah, super young. The thing, especially about Giannis, is that's another guy that, like, you would pay him all that money and he's going to represent your organization and he's going to, like, actually care. I see. My biggest thing, dude, when you're handing a young person that kind of money, I don't know if these GMs and owners think about this, but, like, I'm looking at their personality. Like, if you're a partier, if you're like, it's a red flag. You can't give them that kind of money.
I mean, they're only a couple years separated in draft. Johnny Manziel and Mahomes, like, completely.
No, exactly, dude. If you're
on the right path, and then one went this way and one went this way, straight to fucking fame, money, everything.
Exactly. Did you ever see Mahomes at Encore Beach Club? Did you ever see videos of him at Warwick in LA? Oh,
And I don't, yeah, maybe, but I did see him after the Super Bowl, and he has a good time.
he does. I mean, he was at the Post Malone show, actually.
Yeah, that's when I was like, dude, I want to party with Patty Mahomes.
Yeah, no, that actually did look awesome. I was super jealous.
So that was the big news this week. I think he deserves every penny. I do want him to catch Tom Brady in the Super Bowl department. He's one of the best quarterbacks to watch, and I'm stoked for the guy. Other things, man, I'm hitting a rough spot right now. I've watched every single game of MLS.
No, you have not. No, you have not.
Returned. The MLS is back tournament started yesterday. It's a World Cup format. I think 26 teams because 2 had to bow out, Nashville and Dallas, because of the coronavirus. And it's tough. Let me tell you one thing right here. I've compared it.
Hear this,
think about it all day. So the English Premier League's going on at the same exact time as this thing. And I've watched Liverpool. Tottenham was on today. And today I actually made myself flip back and forth between MLS and EPL. And it's no joke. If you let someone watch softcore porn, which is the MLS, and then just show them 30 seconds of hardcore porn, they will never return to that amateur shit ever again. They will watch softcore porn. I haven't watched softcore porn since probably 6th grade, and it's because I got introduced to hardcore porn.
I was gonna say, because it's always your first, I don't know, but I'm not gonna speak for everyone, but the majority of the young men that I know, your first experience is HBO, late night. You have a few of those channels, Showtime, HBO. You put a blanket. You wait for your parents to go to sleep. And if you actually go back and watch some of those films now, you'll feel like you're watching a Disney movie.
It's terrible.
They don't show anything.
No.
But back then, it was just that exhilaration of like the second you would see the light in your parents' room go off, and you would. No, that's so. But literally, I haven't. The fact that I don't know what's more shocking though, the fact that you're watching soccer or the fact that you're literally using the last button to go between soccer games.
Dude, well, I just wanted to see it's insane how different the talent level is. Ball control, like it's seriously. So I think Eric might have told me when we were watching an MLS game one time, he said it's basically keep away, just like a kid's game in the MLS. Like they just kick it super far and they kick it back. And in EPL, the scoring opportunities are in bunches because they know ball placement, they know through balls, they know all of that, like where to cross it. It's amazing, dude. It's literally minor league soccer, and I'm watching it because it's the first sport to come back.
I was gonna say, as someone who literally hasn't watched a second of that MLS stuff. When did that start? Just like the last few days, right?
Literally yesterday, yeah.
Do you have a favorite team so far? Or?
Well, the LAFC and Galaxy play in a couple of weeks to kick off. Yeah, and which I didn't know is the MLS, they're having this tournament, which I just thought they get a champion and it's over with. But they're actually having this tournament and then hoping that at the end of it in late August that they'll be able to go back to their home stadiums like the NFL and MLB and finish their regular season. That's
so weird. So what's the point of doing this?
It's to compete in the Kafka or whatever you want to call it, champion.
Wait. So what do you win if you win this?
You get to qualify for some tournament in 2020, 2021.
See, that's the thing about soccer.
You get points. Yeah, I know. There's too much shit going on.
It's too confusing. Like you watch like playoffs in any other major sport, and it's like, okay, you play the team head up, you win a few games, there's a series. In soccer, like I never know what's going on. Like half the time I'm watching games on TV, and it's like, oh yeah, these are our 18-year-old team.
Yeah.
Why?
That and like the EPL is a great league. It's one of the best there is, probably the best. And they just have a top 4 seed, and those top 4 teams go into the big tournament with all the country's top club teams. And that's the big one. And I'm drawing a blank the Liverpool one.
I just want to know how many more times we're going to say soccer, this is our year for the World Cup.
Well, Pulisic's been balling.
Who?
Pulisic.
Is that the kid that's on? I don't even know his name. Isn't there a guy that's like in Germany that's from US? Is that him?
Well, Pulisic, I think, has a German background. He plays for the US team, and he's like Chelsea's top man right now, balling.
Wow. All right. Well, I can't wait. When's the next World Cup?
Wasn't it supposed to be? It's in LA. That's all I
I
know.
don't know. Well, all I know is that I'm most excited for it for a couple of reasons. One, it's cool, like, everyone wearing your US jerseys and everyone's kind of rooting for the same team. But the other reason is because usually it's a really early game and it gives us all an excuse to get really drunk early in the morning.
You probably remember this. One of the most devastating sports losses I've ever witnessed and was a part of was when US was playing in a group stage game against Portugal.
Oh,
They were literally up 1-0. And in the 90th minute, Cristiano crosses it. We were at Patrick Malloy's, and everyone was dousing each other with beers when US scored. And Cristiano crosses it, scores. Portugal ties it 1-1, and a tie. And everyone, I've never seen a more depressed bar in my life. Everyone just walked out and went straight home.
because that's why everyone says soccer will never be big in the US because, dude, we don't do ties.
And that's what, you know what the saying was always is a tie is worse than a loss. That right there proved it because everyone's done.
I thought you were going to say a tie's like kissing your sister.
I don't know. You tell me.
I never got that saying because I don't have a sister, but
they said that?
Yeah, you haven't heard that growing up? It's like tying someone's like kissing your sister, and it's like, oh, I don't know the feeling, so.
I can't even get behind that one. What's their saying?
Are you serious? It's like kissing your sister. No one wants to kiss their sister.
No, I know. Oh, I guess, but I'm thinking in standings, a tie you get a point though, which is super weird. So I don't know why those people are like, oh, it's like kissing your sister.
They're saying it's like kissing your sister. There's not like no one wants to kiss your sister. Like, oh, I don't know, dude.
Let's get out of here. Get out of here. Exit. So yeah, that's back. Baseball and basketball, dude. 2 weeks away, I think, right? What are you working on? Rosé?
Oh, honestly, I was not supposed to be drinking during the week, but I've had a really rough week. I've been working out every day with Kyle and Eric. We've been killing it. Road back to 190, but yeah, rosé, Post Malone's rosé. It's delicious.
What's it called?
Maison 9. Hopefully we can get it sponsored for the show soon.
Wait, what's the meaning behind Maison 9?
I'm glad you asked. It is his favorite. Okay, I don't do the whole tarot card things. Is that like, I think that's when you read them and like psychics. That's what a tarot card is. I don't believe in psychics and all that weird shit, but
I do.
Of course you do. But it's his favorite tarot card. It has some meaning behind it. It's a really cool bottle. For everyone out there, it's in stores now. Hopefully we can get a sponsor soon.
7th grade birthday party, actually. They had those cards. They brought someone to do those cards. I got my hand read, and the lady gave it to me, and she said, 2 years, you will face one of the biggest obstacles of your life. 2 years later, kidney transplant.
Dude, it did not say that.
God, she said in 2 years, you will face one of the biggest obstacles of your entire life.
And did she also say in 4 years, you will graduate high school?
Dude, yeah. I mean, she called it. It could have been, I don't know, coincidence or whatever, but I'm running with it.
Dude, you're very you believe in all that stuff, huh?
Just that. Like, why not believe it?
Well, yeah. Dude, I'm too cynical. I'm too cynical.
I mean, it doesn't hurt not to believe it. So yeah, 2 weeks away, baseball, basketball. Are you at least a little bit stoked for baseball? I know you're not a big baseball guy, but it's gotta be scratching at you a little bit.
Yeah, I will say I am excited for baseball because of a few things. It's 60 games, right? 60-game season. Love it. Absolutely love that. There's no need to have 162 games. 60 games, love it. I know they'll go back eventually. Love that. Also, though, I cannot wait to see these baseball purists get pissed off about the runner at second in extra innings and see some team lose that way and just come absolutely unglued.
So I'm a baseball purist, and I actually like that stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I like the universal DH. Think about it. There's some pitchers, if you listen to them in interviews, those guys haven't hit since like before high school, because in high school pitchers don't hit. If you're not a good enough hitter in high school, you don't hit. In college, you don't hit.
Does that make sense to you, though, that you would only have DHs be one half of the league? Why do they do that?
Yeah, it's just traditionally. I've always liked it because I grew up with National League Baseball, so it's cool to have that strategy when you're going to bring a pitcher in, when you're going to pinch hit for the pitcher, double switches. Yeah. American League, you don't have any strategy. You just send out your 9 people, take out your pitcher whenever you want to.
But my counterpoint to that is like, I don't watch as much baseball as you do, but when the pitcher comes up, it's like, all right, well, there's not automatic out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but the sacrifice bunt still.
Oh, there he's gonna bunt. Oh, sick. And then
I do like the sacrifice bunt. It's one of my favorites.
You just see some pitcher, especially one in the American League that's playing in a National League ballpark, and the guy's just flailing at the ball. It's pathetic. They're professional athletes, dude. You're a pitcher, pitch. You don't need to have them hitting. We're not in high school.
And there is so much money invested in these guys. Like, why are you even having them risk the percentage of going out there and tearing a hammy or taking a ball off the shin?
Totally.
Gardner's probably pissed off.
Totally. But yeah, I know. I am kind of stoked for baseball.
The extra inning thing, I do like that. They did it in the World Baseball Classic. It's just, I mean, you were at the 17-inning game and you bitched about it. It's cool to have those experiences. Dude, I guess we have it. And now, during the regular season, it should be that way. Not in the postseason, though. No way.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think I obviously, you know way more about the baseball stuff than I do. But the thing I kind of find interesting is I've heard a lot of people say that because of the shortened season, you might see like a random sneaky team could win it this year.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Which is really cool because I feel like in any other sport, if you shorten it, I don't really think it would do all that much. But baseball, I feel like there would be, for certain teams, there would be an advantage to being a short season, right?
It kind of has a Cinderella feel as the NCAA tournament. That's like the one thing.
Yeah, exactly. No, totally.
It's a crapshoot anyways. And when you shorten it, because in baseball, when there's 162 after 50 games, a team can be 15 games out of first place and basically it's over. But
no, exactly. And also, I think in certain instances, I listened to an interview with Trevor Bauer, who I go back and forth on whether I like him or not. And I actually think I like him now.
Yeah, that interview on Part of My Take was good.
Yeah, exactly. And he was saying pitchers normally it's every fifth game, right?
Yeah.
And now he's saying he's trying to go every 4 because it's only 60 games.
Yeah, I was talking to Slowey on last week's podcast, and that's what I was very interested in is how they're going to use these pitchers because the Dodgers have a plethora of them. I know David Price is sitting out this year, but they still have a bunch of young guys. And what I always liked in, say, whatever it is, Little League or high school, is 2 of your best pitchers piggybacking on each other. Like Kershaw goes 5 or 6, and then you bring in another starter, maybe Stripling, to go the rest of the game. That was always cool to me. I did hear, I forgot what manager it was, said he might do the piggyback technique. It's still strategy. I think more strategy is going to be involved. And one of the new rules is relievers have to face 3 hitters, which that's going to be
Oh, I love that. There's nothing that's more annoying than when you're at a game at like, what's his name for the Dodgers? The manager, like he's the king of that. It's like, dude, you have to pull out a reliever. You put in another pitcher. We have to all.
Yeah, but you got time before the 7th inning when they cut off Beer to go get another one.
That's true. That is true. But I swear, after that cut off Beer, when he's changing pitchers every 3 pitches, dude, too long. We have things to do.
And like you said before, like these guys are paid to pitch. You should be good enough to get a righty out if you're a lefty.
No, I don't know enough about baseball to really get into like the advantages of a righty versus lefty and all, and shifting and all that. But one thing I will say though, I feel like this year it's got to be advantage to teams who have a deep pitching staff, right?
Deep pitching staff. I just think deep team in general, because who knows who's going to be positive and stuff. Every team has a 60-man roster, so they have 60 players they can choose. Okay. However good those players are is the question.
Last thing I want to touch on with baseball, obviously Dodgers are our team, but so he's starting opening day. I thought for sure Buehler, right?
Nah, Kershaw's still that guy, dude.
Why is that though?
Did you listen to Theo Vaughn and Buehler? I think people should go watch that. It's cool.
I didn't. I saw that he had him on, and I thought that was really cool. I got to get around to watching that. But my thing is that, like,
because you would like it, because I think there's something to be taken from someone who doesn't watch baseball, like Theo Vaughn, and has a guy on that's a pitcher in the major leagues. He'll break, and Buehler, you got like so much out of him. Like he was asking Buehler like what a balk is, and it was so cool to see Buehler talk about things that he would never talk about in just a standard interview.
True. I actually definitely check that out. But yeah, I thought that was interesting because I was under the impression Buehler was like the Dodgers ace now, but I guess they're still rolling with Kershaw. Hopefully not in the playoffs, though.
Hey, the 60 games could benefit them. 60 games though. Since it's 60 games, shortened season, you said a Cinderella story might happen. You got to throw your hat in the ring for a team.
I'm trying to think of who.
You got to ride with them.
I'm trying to think of we have this group text with a couple of our buddies. The funny thing is I went through the teams. This is how like just
Sparking, unbelievable.
Dude, green, right? Isn't that what their color is?
Gorgeous, dude.
It really is a great looking jersey.
And just the right.
Great looking jersey, terrible ballpark. Have you ever been there?
I've heard it's awful. And you went.
That place is a hole, dude.
Yeah, everyone says it's the worst stadium.
I went there once in college and it was dog.
I heard Qualcomm before that's the end of that was bad too, and I went once.
It was old. I've been there a few times. It was really old, but no, we're getting very off topic. But you thought the Twins, huh?
Yeah, Twins are my team. You can take the A's right now. James asked that question in the text, like.
I know who I said. I never picked my random team, or my dark horse, but for some reason, I know you're gonna hate this. I just feel like the Astros, dude.
They won't.
I think they will, dude. I feel like they have that mentality that it's like us versus the world, and they might not be able to bang on drums, but you don't think so? They have so much talent.
They do have talent, but let's see how that talent works out when they're not cheating their way. All right.
Dude.
I just can't get behind that. But any thoughts on the NBA? I know I'm a Laker fan. You're a Kings fan. Kings got to battle in to make it happen.
You see the Kings schedule? We have a cakewalk to the final or to the playoffs.
See that, but then they gave the Pelicans an even easier schedule. So
they gave them the Kings twice. That's why people are saying that.
And Zion came out of quarantine looking
absolutely shredded. Looking like dude, he literally looks like a dog.
What he got for his birthday.
What'd you say?
TMZ did a story of what he bought for his birthday a couple days ago.
Nerd.
That dude, I love him, dude.
Thanos pendant, nerd.
That's his guy. That's why his saying is "Let's dance." I guess Endgame, Thanos came from the dead.
Nerd. He's a nerd, dude.
Whatever, dude. I would give that guy $500 million. Oh, I don't know.
Dude, the gumbo and all that stuff's pretty good down there.
He laid off of it during quarantine, which is a huge test.
It is because he had nothing to do, so he's probably just watching Marvel.
I read that since he was rehabbing an injury, he was one of 6 players that was allowed to keep training at their facility during the entire quarantine.
How is that fair?
If you were rehabbing an injury, you were allowed to go back to the facility.
Oh, well, that was the saving grace for him because that guy would have blown up like a balloon.
But anyways, I'm a Pelicans and Zion guy, but if the Kings get in 1 versus 8 Lakers Kings, that'll
be epic, dude. Because I know we've talked about it in like we don't want to beat the whole asterisk thing to death like everyone's talking about, but like just like me just selfishly thinking how fun it would be. There's no sports on. If the Kings snuck in at the 8th seed and played the Lakers in the 7-game series, like we're watching all those games together.
Would they get 1?
I have to watch them in these 8 games. Dude, I will say we were on fire at the end of the year. Or before the pandemic hit, we were on a nice little streak. I think we were like 8-2 in our last 10. We were hot.
Dude, young.
And we have Bagley back. I have faith for like the first – I always have fake faith, but this time I have real faith.
All right, fair enough. I brought you on because UFC 251 is happening this weekend. The bets are going to be flowing out with all of our friends. I'm pretty stoked about it. The stacked card, you can't say it's the best of all time. We're not going down that road. You said no, McGregor has to be on if it's the best of all time.
McGregor, nothing hits like a McGregor card. So, yeah, I can't say that. But I will say top to bottom, most depth as far as I'm literally – there's very rarely a card where I'm really excited for all 5 of the main events, and I can legitimately say I will be in front of the TV for all 5 fights.
So I think they were hyping up Usman Covington second time they're going to fight. I think Masvidal makes this card slap harder than that.
Oh, well, no. So Usman was going to fight Gilbert Burns.
Oh, that's right, Gilbert Burns.
Yeah, so he was going to fight Gilbert Burns, which, I mean, he washed.
Washed. And you
washed Woodley, my guy Woodley, my coworker, washed him, unfortunately. But this is just going to be so much more exciting, obviously. I mean, these two guys don't like each other. I love Masvidal's swag and aura he brings. It'll be interesting. I mean, Masvidal is riding high right now. He's like, he's obviously, everyone's going to brand the fact that, he fought in Kimbo fights in the backyard. And now he's had a million UFC fights, and now he's kind of hitting his stride. So it's going to be dope. By the way, are you in quarantine this weekend for the fights, or are you actually going to make it your way out?
That news broke to you? I'm in quarantine.
You're in quarantine, dude.
I'm back in quarantine.
Back in quarantine. Well,
I gotta buy the fight, but I'll say this: every time I buy a fight, I've always hit with great freaking fights. But speaking of Masvidal, yeah, everyone's gonna bring up the backyard fights. Second most career fights before his first title bout.
Mm-hmm.
That's 48 fights, and he's finally stepping in to face on 6 days' notice. 6 days' notice, and who do you give the advantage to? Because Usman's been training for Gilbert Burns, who a lot of the experts say was probably a more round fighter than Masvidal. So this could be easier for him, but I don't know who to go for. I mean, what bets are we doing?
First of all, 48 fights,
48?
professional fights. I think I've been in 3 fights in my entire life. So this guy's probably been in, what do you think, 200, 300 fights in his life? Like actual fights.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Insane. It's just insane to think about that. But honestly, this is a thing. My heart wants Masvidal to win. Everyone in the world is all on the Masvidal train. Usman's kind of not like a boring fighter, but it just doesn't have the shit talking, isn't exciting. But dude, I actually, right before we jumped on this, with Patch in the other room, watched Usman versus Covington, which I had never seen. I only saw the result where he broke his jaw. Dude, Masvidal, I originally had to bet Masvidal, but he has got his work cut out for him.
Yeah.
He's such a solid fighter, dude. And he has been training for a month. And I know Masvidal says, like, I'm just a fighter. Like, I can, I'm going to fight. But, like, dude, you haven't been training for a month. He was at the beach on 4th of July playing spike ball.
Doesn't he cut 20 pounds this week?
Dude, and that's the other thing. I don't know how that's possible. I've been trying to get back to 190. I've been hovering right around 200 pounds for probably like the last 3 months. And I've gotten to like 198, and it's a huge victory. This man said he was 193 on 4th of July, and he has to get to 170 by tomorrow.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet him. Those guys who dropped that weight, I remember Bisping back in the day.
Exactly.
Looked so frail when he went out there. I forgot who it was. It was against Dan Henderson. And he just looked so frail, and it was brutal. And I think that's going to be the same way.
You're basically in a fight before you even fight.
So you like the prop bets as I do, like whatever plus whatever for KO, TKO, knockout. I'm on CBS Sports right now, and they're saying the pick for this fight is to pick Usman by KO, TKO, or disqualification. That's plus 188.
I like the TKO. I don't think
I love that bet. That's my favorite bet in all of UFC.
But not the KO, because Usman doesn't knock anyone out. But I could see him stunning him, getting him on the ground, and them pulling them from each other for sure. I like that bet a lot.
That's plus 188. And then we'll go to the next fight. I'm pretty stoked about this one. Holloway's back. He lost to do you know how to pronounce this guy's name?
I'm so bad. But worst thing is I've actually met this guy, and he's like literally the nicest guy in the world. No idea how to pronounce it. Is it Volkanovski?
Volkanovski. I think you got it right. Under the great Australian. He's currently the featherweight champion, and they fought before, and he basically just chopped at Holloway's legs the entire time. Holloway going into that one hadn't lost a featherweight fight in 6 years. And Max, I mean, that fight, him coming off of T-City.
Nothing I love better than seeing him beat the shit out of Brian Ortega. We won't get into that, but
brutally. So for this fight, I haven't seen. I saw just highlights of Alexander kicking him last fight. Holloway was watching it in video and said basically, "I deserve to win," which unanimously lost. So
I mean, no, Holloway, you lost. I just watched the fight as well, but I like Holloway, man. I think he is such a stud, and I feel like he's the type of guy, like he's like a shark. When he sees blood in the water, he just attacks. And I watched this fight, and I really do feel like he's going to be more prepared. If he just doesn't let him kick, I know he was saying the kicks weren't hurting him, but unfortunately in the UFC, those are points.
Yeah.
He isn't going to let him do that this time. He isn't going to let him do that this time. I really like Holloway. He's a dog too in this fight.
He is a dog. This guy right here on the website said to bet minus 250 that it's going to go the distance. I don't like those bets. Even if they're in my favor, I just don't like those bets.
Well, the thing,
Holloway,
I don't like those either, because the fact is I like seeing KOs. I don't want to see anything go the distance.
There's good ones that do go the distance, but the same bet as Usman Masvidal, if you bet Holloway for KO, TKO, disqualification, that's plus 700. Can you see that happening or no?
I like that. I like that a lot. But because the thing is with Max is he's not going to submit you. He's not like a big – I mean, he can. I'm not saying he doesn't have the skills, but he's the TKO guy, because I feel like also –
Sanders the guy that they're saying has the power.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think Max has the power, but I think he hurts you, and then he hits you with a flurry of punches, and they call the fight. So that actually, I will say, for me at least, is a wash. I think that's like 50-50 who's going to win that fight. I'm betting Max because I like him, and I think he's not going to let him kick him to death.
All right, next one. We got Aldo versus Peter Yan. And this is for the title because that little munchkin Triple C retired, so his belt's up for grabs, correct?
Thank God. Yeah, he retired, vacant belt. Interesting fight too, because Peter Yan, up and coming stud. I've seen a bunch of his fights. God, he's a great fighter. And Aldo,
right?
What's up?
Is he a Russian?
Russian, or I don't think he's Russian. He's in that European area. I'm not very good at geography. He's in one of those countries, not Russian, but at Slovenia maybe. Anyways, the interesting thing though is that Aldo, obviously legend, I feel like
recently
he lost his last fight. That's the crazy thing. And then he got the title fight. He lost to Marlon Moraes.
It does say that.
Everyone was saying that he actually won. Like even Dana White said after the fight, like he won the fight. So they gave him the title fight, which is interesting. I think Yan is gonna. I think he's gonna. My most confident fight is that Peter Yan is gonna beat Jose Aldo.
So this guy out of the prop.
Is it Jose or Jose? By the way.
I think it's Jose.
No, I think it's Jose.
No, there's another Jose. I think it's Jose.
No, it's not Jose. Is it Jose? No, it's Jose Altidore. But no,
Jose from Big Brother. That guy.
We got way off. We get way off topic with.
So this guy for the prop bets, he went Peter Yan via decision plus 250.
I like decision.
I give credit, by the way.
I don't like decision though, because
Brent Brookhouse.
Who the hell? Brent
Brookhouse, CBS Sports MMA.
Brent Brookhouse.
Oh,
I don't trust anyone named Brent after Brett Malone.
He's good.
He is a good guy, but the reason why I think that's a bad bet is because Jose or Jose, whichever one we're going with, he said specifically that after he lost the last fight that he would never let a judge decide again. So I feel like he's either winning in decision or getting knocked out, honestly.
That's my favorite type of fighter.
It's not going the distance. The way Peter Yan presses, and Jose, I like Jose better. Jose said he will never let a ref, because they're so shitty, he'll never let a judge decide a fight for him. So it's going to be a TKO or a knockout. So
fair enough. Jessica, dude, her last name too. UFC names Andre, or I don't know.
Dude, it's because it's an international sport, dude.
Well, I know how to say Rose Namajunas because she's one of my favorite fighters.
That's
I
right.
catch putting down a 6 or 7 parlay the night George St. Pierre fought. Damn it, who'd he fight?
I remember that Bisping for the title.
Bisping and St. Pierre, and all he needed was Bisping to get his 8-game parlay. Rose was a part of that. She was like a plus 600.
Dude, he was going to win like a grand, wasn't he?
Yeah, a grand, and everyone was saying hedge, and my boy Patty dropped his nutsack on the table and said, we're not hedging.
And they kicked him right in the nuts.
He got kicked in the nuts, but you know what? That's heart right there. So this guy for this fight, he says pick Rose, either the KO TKO bet plus 350, or you could even do Rose submitting at plus 450.
I like both of those. So I think Rose is winning 100%.
They fought before, right?
What's up?
They fought before?
They lost, or Rose lost. Sorry, not they. Well, so what happened was Andrade, you've definitely seen this highlight. Jessica picked up Rose, pile drove her into the ground, and she like knocked her out. Like dude, that's a fluke. You really think that that's happening again? That's a fluke knockout.
I wouldn't call it a fluke knockout. I would say the odds of it happening again are slim, but that's not a fluke knockout.
It was a fluke, but I will say though, the one thing that makes me not think it's a fluke is Jessica. I have, by no means do I have nice legs. They're pretty scrawny. 2 of my legs are one of hers. Where Rose looks like a 5th grader. Like she looks so it's a very weird dynamic, but the fact that was kind of a fluke to me, that knockout was a fluke, and Rose beat Joanna twice convincingly. Rose is winning this fight, dude.
Yeah, Joanna might be just done, which is a shame. She was my favorite fighter.
I will also say, though, I don't know how you feel about this, but I just recently found out that in Rose's corner, I don't know, is it her boyfriend, fiance, or husband, trains her, like is in her corner. I think that that's so badass.
Isn't that kind of the same with Van Zant and her husband?
No, that guy's does he train her?
They train together. I don't know if he's in her corner.
Dude, something about like that whole dynamic. I love that because like
especially in fighting, like when you see your significant other like beaten down and you have to literally try to talk them.
Exactly.
Keep fighting. Yeah, it's tough.
And exactly. And it's like, yeah, your trainer and your team and everyone is like, those are your boys, but like, dude, that's your ride or die. Like you guys are in this fucking together. I love that whole dynamic. And I really, really think Rose is winning this fight.
All right. I like that. What this guy said, the TKO. And we have Paige Van Zant versus Amanda Ribas.
Know nothing about who Paige is fighting. Paige Van Zant.
What's Paige been doing recently? Has she fought? Does she look good?
She did have a show on TMZ. She had like a deal with something on TMZ where they had like a Snapchat show or something. So, clearly not training. This is my thing with Paige Van Zant is like everyone knows Paige Van Zant, but like, has you ever seen her win a fight? Have you? I mean, I don't know. Like,
she fought. No, actually, because the first time I ever saw her fight was against the Karate Hottie.
It's like she's so well known,
I believe. And
whether or not like you want to say like this is bad or good, like she's well known because she's a really good looking girl.
Your roommate Patrick texted me saying, "Did I just walk into Devin's room and you ask him his take on UFC? Shit, you must have corona."
Well, you are in quarantine. Have you been tested?
I've not been tested yet. This guy picked Ribas by submission plus 200, so he doesn't have much confidence in Paige Van Zant.
Yeah, I don't either. Sorry, Paige. Paige, although I will also say I don't want to like, especially in today's day and age, we don't objectify women and stuff, but I really do think Paige Van Zant is really hot, and everyone else is like, dude, in Hermosa, she'd just be any other girl. That's just not true.
She's cute for sure.
That's just not true. They're like, oh, that she would just be any other girl you would see out. And I've seen her in person. She is drop dead gorgeous, great fighter, great personality. I actually really do hope she wins this fight, but no shot she wins it.
Yeah, if you see him in person, I think you should have a well-respected opinion. And you know who? I've heard this twice, and this is how we'll end, because I've heard this from multiple people that they saw Paris Hilton maybe like years ago in person, and she was drop dead gorgeous, which I was shocked by that statement. So I've heard from multiple people that they saw Paris Hilton in person and said she was drop dead gorgeous. And I was never really a Paris Hilton fan, but that shocked me.
No, I mean, I'm actually kind of right there with you. Paris Hilton, not really my cup of tea per se, but I will say that, I mean, everyone's seen the video, so that was interesting. But One thing I will say though, to your point, which is she must have something because one of my good friends from work, Charlie Cotton, he's probably like our biggest well-known paparazzi guy. He works at LAX. So this man literally sees every A-list celebrity that comes through there, interviews him, interacts, in love with Paris Hilton. Thinks she's like the hottest chick ever. Like literally he's infatuated with her. So dude, she has something. I haven't been in her presence.
Backed up multiple people. And I heard, which I agree with because I've always been a big fan, is I heard Kim Kardashian in person. You're struck by how short she is, but I heard drop dead gorgeous.
Paris is, so we can confirm here with both of our sources, Paris Hilton.
Wait, did I say Paris again?
Huh?
Did I say Paris again?
No, you said Kim, but we know Kim, dude. Have you seen her Instagram? I don't need to have someone tell me that.
No, we're talking about in person as opposed to Instagram. So, I mean, I can tell you right now, I look a hell of a lot better on Instagram than this Zoom right now. And I'm playing out because I look redder than hell and I wasn't in the sun today. So I don't know.
Dude, you've gotten a lot of sun. Anyways, I know we have to wrap up. Enjoy your quarantine. We'll obviously be talking this weekend. We'll miss your presence as always, but you're always there in heart.
Zoom me in.
Oh, actually, not yet. Now that we figured out
I Zoomed you when you didn't have a TV to watch one of the fight nights a couple months ago.
True, you FaceTime me. Okay, fine. I'll bring my laptop to wherever we go, and we're going to be very respectful, socially distant. We're going to take temperatures, and I'll have my laptop set up so you can join us.
All right, peace out, buddy.
Always fun.
Deuces.
Peace.
Hang up.
I like video better.
Get out of here. Get out. I need you out.
I'm trying to leave, dude. Chill. I just want to hang out for a little. Dude, can I not hang out with my friend?
I'm trying to close the show down, so.
Later.
I'll close it down. Okay, there we have it. Deven Rall back on the 10After7 podcast. It's always a great time shooting the shot with him. You guys can follow me on Twitter at 10After7 and on the Instagram at 10_after_7. Have a nice weekend. I'm out. Woo! Go Dodgers.